All right, good afternoon. About 2:30 p.m. and it is Wednesday. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the storm tomorrow morning. I don't have much, at least in the way of any changes in our forecast, so please keep that in mind. Any snow that does fall would be between the hours of 6 a.m. and noon tomorrow. And the most likely areas in our region to receive wet snow, again, this would be fairly heavy wet snow, would be the northwestern sections of the region. So we're talking the Twin Cities Metro, St. Cloud area. Certainly the more you go north, like the northern Twin Cities Metro and the western Twin Cities Metro, those would be the areas that would likely get an inch or two of snow out of this. And usually as you head east towards western Wisconsin, places such as Eau Claire, Menominee, even Red Wing in southeastern Minnesota, less likely that snow is going to accumulate in those areas. But regardless, I think everybody has the potential for certainly at least a coating of snow. And then again, some places in that 1 to 2 inch range. It would be a quick burst of snow, probably only lasting a few hours, and then it would be all done, it looks like certainly by noon tomorrow. Okay, so that's the way this is going to pan out. So again, no changes really in the forecast with this storm system. Mostly rain, and then at the tail end, some snow for a couple of hours. It would be wet snow. What you're seeing right now is the infrared satellite loop. And you can clearly see a beautiful storm system here now that's starting to wrap up already over Colorado. So this storm system has energy with it. It's got a lot of warm air pushing out ahead of it. You can kind of see it here when we take a look at the satellite loop. This is warm air now that is surging north out of the Gulf of Mexico into the Central Plains and portions of the Northern Plains. And then right up here, this is right at the base, the right rear quad of a jet streak. This is where snow is breaking out, and that's over northern North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota. That's where the significant snow will stay later today, as this, what I consider a warm, significant storm system, but a warm one, continues to churn east and northeast out of the Rocky Mountains, but really a beautiful looking storm system that we need to pay attention to here over the next 24 hours. All right, radar loop. This is right out of the Twin Cities. A lot of these radar echoes up here in central Minnesota is virga. That's precipitation not hitting the ground. But as we zoom out and as we look at the northern plains, you can clearly see snow, and this is mostly snow, some rain, breaking out over northern North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota, where several inches of snow can be expected. Not a huge storm up there, but several inches. And then looking south, this is our weather maker for later on tonight. This is rain. This is going to be significant rain. It's going to fill in as it continues to move north and east. As it continues to move north and east towards southern Minnesota, this area is going to fill in and it's going to intensify, and that's what's going to produce our rain starting probably after sunset. I would say more around 9 or 10 this evening, and then continuing overnight. Looks like some steady rain in our area that's eventually going to change to snow, especially on the northwestern side of this snow band, or of this precipitation band. Here's the future radar now, pretty concrete. This is the latest NamNest guidance that comes down at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's just coming in, and here's the snow echoes now up over northern Minnesota. That's where they stay later today and tonight. And then look at this breakout of what's likely going to be significant rain, maybe even some sleet over central Minnesota. And then we continue to look further south here as a big slug of rain moves up into southern and eastern Minnesota and basically all of Wisconsin, maybe even a little bit of thunder in some of these precipitation cells. And then as we get into right around 7 or 8 a.m., here you can see this band starting to pivot. This is what we call a trawl. And that trawl is going to be located almost right over the Twin Cities Metro and points north and west. And in that trawl is where precipitation would change over to snow. And we can see that from the NamNest computer model guidance. Here it is, rain. Green is depicted as rain. Rain over southern Minnesota tonight and western Wisconsin. And then that rain changes over to snow right around 6 or 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. The rain-snow line, changeover line, bisects the Twin Cities metro from northwest to southeast. And then, of course, that steadily moves east-southeast, that rain-snow line, before ending by about noon. This is the future radar for noon, and pretty much all of Minnesota by that time should be out of the precipitation shield, yet still continuing over portions of western Wisconsin. And I think all of this precipitation moves out of the whole region by about 1 or 2 in the afternoon tomorrow. This is the first time I've seen this, but this is going to be the latest NamNest guidance for snow totals, and pretty much spot on to what the guidance has been predicting up to this point. Most of southern and eastern Minnesota are going to be in that coating to 2-inch range. Maybe some locations that are lucky, if you consider snow lucky. Some locations may get close to 3 inches of snow, but I think everyone is going to be under that 2-inch mark. And some areas, especially if it snows hard enough for a short period of time, some areas may get close to that 1 to 2-inch range as this storm ends and wraps up tomorrow afternoon. And then, of course, here's the heavier snows up in northern Minnesota, where 3 to 5 inches of snow pretty likely up there, and even some higher totals along the shores of Lake Superior. So this storm is, at least up to this point, behaving about exactly as we expected, which again means a coating to about 2 inches of snow across our region, with the heavier totals on the northwest side of the region, which would be the northern and western Twin Cities metro, on northeast into extreme northwestern Wisconsin. And then as you go south towards the Red Wing and Eau Claire areas in Rochester, very little snow expected down there, as it remains mostly rain. And really, for all of us, mostly rain, with just a tail end turning to snow. Okay, let's get to what's really important now here is, and this has been a little perplexing and it's daunting, this storm system now as we get into next week, and it may actually be a couple of storm systems. Right now, guidance all agree, all three of them, the Euro guidance, the American guidance, and then the Canadian guidance, all agree that a massive storm system is going to affect much of the United States, including the upper Midwest as we get into next week, especially in that somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday time period. The difference is in the timing. The Euro guidance is looking at a snowstorm for Thanksgiving Day. I know, not great timing. Whereas the American model and even the Canadian model has that storm system affecting us a bit sooner, which would be Tuesday. But regardless, something big seems to be on the way for next week. This is the European computer model guidance. This is what we call the 500 millibar height anomalies. Really what it tells you is that any areas in the purple and blue are areas that are considered a trough or potential for inclement weather. And this is Tuesday morning. Look at the large areas of low heights over much of the United States. And that continues as we go into Wednesday and then into Thursday. And what I really want you to pay attention to with the Euro guidance is look at how these heights have crashed over the western United States. What that tells us is that there's going to be a jet stream, at least the Euro guidance believes that that jet stream is going to come up out of the desert southwest and right up into the upper Midwest as we get into Thursday, into Thanksgiving Day. This would be a powerful jet stream and jet streak for that matter. And then there would be another jet streak coming out of northern Minnesota towards eastern Canada and Ontario. And in between, of course, would be a significant, a large, major storm system, and it would include snow for much of us. So that's the European guidance. And in fact, if we take a look at snow totals from the European guidance as we head into next week, one moment, and I'll get that for you. The snow totals, this would be I'll just give you the total accumulations for Thursday and into Friday. This is actually over the next 6 days, but a lot of this is for Thursday of next week. we're talking snow total somewhere in that 6 to 10 inch range across much of Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin. So that's the European guidance. Now, what I'm going to show you is, actually, let's go to the GFS computer model guidance. So we're going to show you the jet stream structure from the GFS as we head into next week. This is Monday and into Tuesday, and it is very obvious that there is a strong jet streak that the European guidance has right over the Central Plains. So we're talking right in this area here. That's that jet stream and jet streak that would create a massive winter storm. And here's this comma shape that we always look for with a jet structure when we anticipate winter storms. And this would put much of southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and western Wisconsin in a premier area for heavy snows. And this would be Tuesday. Okay, but again, the European model guidance isn't showing this until Thursday. And then as we continue through time, look at what the GFS computer model guidance does. It sends another storm system into our region as we get into Thursday and Friday. So what this is really telling me is that I think it's, and you'll see this as we get into tomorrow and Friday, I think I'm going to push back the idea of a major winter storm about a day or two next week. So there's some good news and some bad news out of this. The good news is that we're going to have a warm up as we, not only today, but as we go into the weekend. It's going to warm up. We're going to have temperatures above average, and those temperatures above average will likely continue into early next week. So you're going to have a chance to do any of those last minute cleanups that you need to do out there, those outdoor chores. The bad news is that it looks like the storm system is going to hang back and then affect us as we get into, probably later Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So when my trigger graph comes out tomorrow, you're probably going to see that I'm going to push back the storm system a little bit. So in other words, I'm going to lean more towards the Euro guidance than the American GFS guidance. But we'll see. I want to see a couple more model runs, medium range model runs come in before I do that. But long story short, we need to be prepared for a major storm system towards the middle of next week. We'll nail down that timing as we get into Friday and then Saturday of this week. And we'll be all over the storm system going into next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.